Hello, everyone. Welcome to our show. It's indeed a very sad day in Kenya. You all know what has happened. We'd like to send condolences to the people who have lost their loved ones at the Utumishi Girls Academy. Hey, it's indeed a very sad thing. The way you could see parents there at the gate asking if their kids are alive, if they are in hospital. And I saw another, there was another man there at the gate. He was very, very, hey, just can't understand. And I've seen a very, Paulo, hi. Nimeona mbaba mwingine hapo social media, mbaba tu mkubwa. And the things that he had written, they were very, I don't know how to term it, but I don't know if you guys have seen it, concerning the same incident that has happened at Tumishi. That man who had written a long post, he was saying, let me just try to find it. Mzee mkubwa anaitwa sijui MC something. Achana na Olunga. Unaongelelea Olunga mgani? Olunga wa football? Sasa if it doesn't have treatment, tunakuwa aje experts? If it doesn't have a treatment, tunakuwa aje experts nani? Njiru. Njiru kwanza, you had a question to answer. Ni nini nani wanaulizana na Trump wanataka kutufanyia hapa na Ruto? What is it that they want from us? Kenya is an expert in Ebola. Kenya is a country that is still struggling with things such as jiggers and whatever. Tutakuwa aje experts wa Ebola? While these small diseases bado zinatusumbua. How? Nimeona wengine wamesema about this Ebola thing. They are saying that hiyo facility iende ikajengwe huko Sugoi. Okay, I know it is not something to joke with, but mimi sijui president tuko naye nini anatakia nchi. Why is it that Ruto hates Kenya that much? Kwani Wakenya walimkosea nini hadi anafanya tu vitu, alafu ndio huyo mtu mwenyewe ati ndio ako national ni prayer day whatever, hiyo yenye wanafanya na wife yake, national prayer breakfast. What is he doing? What is he even doing there? Kama anaweza fanyia wananchi things such as this, anafanya nini kwa Kenya national Sijui ni prayer day ama ni nini hiyo. Ati they are praying for the country. What are they really praying for? Na huyu nani anaitwa aje? Huyu Secretary of the State wa US, Mark Rubio. Anatuambia their number one priority is the of their foreign policies to protect the American people, and they can't allow any case of Ebola in the US, but they wanna allow it. Wakuja Kenya. Anyway, I've seen various Kenyan leaders talking about the same issue. I've seen Jeremiah Kioni one-on-one talking about this issue of Ebola and bringing the Ninio here, the facility for hosting the American citizens who will be infected. So let me just play kidogo.
My work is easy because I use ClickUp. Here's how I keep track of all my tasks. I start by brain dumping everything I need to get done in a list view. Next, I set a priority and a due date.
And I want to join you in Fanya Mambo, in saying pole to the parents and even to the colleagues. The wale ambao wamebaki, they are also traumatized.
Yeah.
Wishing good.
Another thing that I'll also look into is the debt clock. I've seen there is a 25-year-old Kenyan who has created a debt tracking clock, which shows the amount of debt maybe that Kenya has as a country. Yeah, yenye tumeombaomba kule tumeomba whatever. But first, let me start with this thing of Ebola. Mniambie kama nyinyi mnataka hiyo quarantine ikuje. Hiyo facility. Yani mi sometimes nashindanga kuelewa shida ya Ruto ni nini. Sijui. I don't know the material from which Ruto was cut and created.
Cries could be covering, but also asking that we need a clear, with some.
Yeah.
Thing that we can understand. This is not the first time. We're just talking, and you can see it's almost a year. Yeah. 2 years actually, since we are hit again by a similar tragedy. Huko pande ya Kieni, Darasha, inside school. Again, we lost very many young people. We were promised that we will be told what happened, and measures will be put in place to ensure that this kind of thing does not recur again.
Yeah.
But it's unfortunate that we got this kind of harassment in 16 kids. Earlier on in the day, I was talking to a parent who has a young one in a boarding school, and she was telling me that it traumatizes her because the last time during the Darasha, she didn't sleep for a whole week. She would wake in the middle of the night and wonder what is going to happen. And the child is not in Darasha, but it is a young boy in a boarding school. And so it hits everybody, one way or another. Of course, the biggest loss is these parents. But again, This school, I am told, and reliably so, that it also has quite a number of kids from officers of the army, officers of the police force.
Yes.
And it is not that it should have more special attention, but it is also not located so far away from the army.
Yeah.
So how would we lose 16 kids? Where there must be something wrong, either the construction materials, there must be something wrong with the whole of that.
Yeah.
Which makes it difficult for us to rescue before we have such huge numbers. Not that even one child should die from this kind of a tragedy, but it is actually very horrifying to wake up in the morning to this kind of news, while we are in a country that is in need of so many solutions, so many things. Now to wake up again with this kind of a news, it's really just horrifying, and I want to say important to the parents. That is a terrible thing.
I mean, the bigger question people are asking is, as you said, there's an army barracks that's closed. There's the AP school. I think there's the NYS. Then what does that say about our response? Of course, I know the police operate with command.
Yeah, but when there is fire, you wait for a command. I mean, the emergencies are emergencies. And I would expect that all those security organs or agencies or institutions have all those facilities. It cannot be a place like Kenya where perhaps people are going to come from 40, 50 kilometers away. These are people who are just next door. Na hata kama si kwenda na fire extinguishing, fire fighting equipment or whatever. I mean, I honestly cannot believe that that would happen when those security agents are that close. It should not happen anywhere to start with. But to see that even our agents were not, we are not commending them for having stepped in quickly to avert a tragedy.
Yeah.
It's also speaking for him about how we are managing our own institutions, and especially the security institutions. I do not know, and I don't want to perhaps say, when we were in Kiambu, the war head of state talked to the security agents. Please ensure that we don't drift. That was another topic.
Yeah.
Perhaps it is time to talk to these agencies and call upon them to be prepared for this kind of emergencies. Every country prides itself when the officers, uniformed officers, are able to respond to these issues, and in a manner that makes you proud of being a Kenyan and brings out patriotism. This is not the case this morning.
Something else now that people are even questioning is that a lot of our security budget goes to these institutions. If they're not in a position to go and rescue children because there is a fire, but the budget, even in the current budget, the defense security budget keeps going higher, then how do we justify the usage?
And when we were doing the constitution, I remember we had that debate, and there were those people who were very keen to say that the army should never be called out to do anything civilian or within a country. Their work is to defend the borders. And we had that long debate, and we agreed. There is no use of having an army that cannot respond to emergencies even within the country. We don't expect anybody to come fighting us from outside the country. Fine, we have to be prepared. So we actually provided for that. That provision in the constitution is there, that our army, while it is meant to guard our borders, will be available at short notice to deal with the emergencies. And certainly, when you look at the budget, which is also not properly audited, a huge amount of money goes towards the army to buy equipment. If it's not equipment to help in this kind of things, again, we need to ask many questions on policy making within those institutions.
Because the argument now from a political side is, if it was a protest, rest assured.
We were hit by them. It is not if. When we were out protesting, they were out there, and they were chasing us all over. With the army also, we remember there was a motion that was tabled in Parliament, and they were told the motion allowed them to come out into streets. It's never been receded. It is still there. So when it comes to misuse of the army, it's easy for the state to do that. But when it is a useful call like saving the lives of those young kids, again, so our thinking, we are warped in many ways. And I'm telling you, when people keep crying about the governance, the management of affairs, that's yet another example of why we need it.
So in this issue that Jeremiah Kieni is talking about the army, and the issue of the fire that happened at Utumishi Girls Academy, do you think the army, because wanasema wako karibu na hiyo army barracks or something, and Kioni is just saying that when it comes to chasing people who are picketing, the army comes very fast. But when it comes to such emergencies, wana jikokota. I think I have heard one man saying there, it is one of the border that was saying that they managed at least to rescue some kids juu walieka ladder, wengine wakapanda, and then they went to tafuta chuma so that they can maybe wagonge mlango ifunguke, but when they came back the police chased them. So I really don't know why that happened. Sielewi.
Changes in the country clearly, because I hope somebody will not come and say when kids were banned in Ukamani, there was a school that also had a similar tragedy.
The Changuli.
Changuli, yes. Yeah. That time the president was not from, it was from another community. I hope somebody will not now come and say, why did you say this when the president was from another community? The kind of silly answers are the things that are irritating and making it clear to us that we are very vulnerable. Yes, as a people.
Okay. The other thing was when the Hillside tragedy happened, the ministry, the government put on resources and said they would make several changes and policies that would ensure children in boarding schools are well taken care of. In fact, in schools. And we saw the closure of that institution for a few, I think, months. Yes, and then reopened. Now, this is a government institution. The same has happened. Do you think the things that were raised back then have been implemented?
I attended the memorial. So actually, it's not the memorial, it's the funeral service of the what were dispatched to different homes. I feel embarrassed to attend another one, because this is going to be another now opportunity for politicians to go and give speeches. Sure.
So, there have been sayings that because of this incident, the CS for Education, Migos Ogamba should resign because of such a thing. Because earlier, tumeona schools zikichomeka, they have been saying kuna strategies na some policies that have been put in place to ensure that this doesn't happen again. Because kwa hiyo shule, I think the one of the parents who was explaining vile mtoto wake alikuwa anamwambia, alisema that the door was locked from outside. They said that the door was locked from outside, and the matron, it's been found that the matron was not, I don't know, she was not in school, or she wasn't just around, and it's a matter that has been questioned. Give me a second. I could see the pain of the parents there. There was another, I think it was the dad of one of the people who are there. Huyo baba alikuwa amenunua sana. Let me just find. There he is. Ndio huyo. Let me just
Tell me your daughter is A or B. Video. Stop telling me stories. Don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I want one answer. Your daughter is A or B. I don't care. Don't give me about what I'm telling us. Old school. No information. Keep us in darkness. Oh my God. Tell me why. This one made up. I must be away by home. Since morning, which hospital I go there to look my daughter. Tell me which hospital. Which hospital? Why is it not in darkness?
Yeah, so I think you've seen the way that man was
SPF 50 and brightening vitamin C to protect from sun damage.
he just wanted them to tell
Refreshing
him
texture for 8 hours of
where
freshness.
his daughter is.
New
And I think most of the parents are I saw kina Murkomen wakienda huko, but the mood there was
Jina yangu ni Shadia Garbole. Mtoto yangu ako ako form 3 red. na iko msichana ako na yeye form 3 red. Sasa vile ni tangu waanze kuanzia form 1 baba yao kwao ni Mombasa, na ni baba anafanya Nyanyuki. Sasa tangu wakati hiyo wameingia na hawa form 1, huwa nikikuja shuleni mimi ndo nachukuanga watoto pamoja ndo niweke kwa gari ifikie baba yake. Sasa nikasemekana jana jioni hiyo kitendo imetendeka kuanzia saa 7 ya usiku nilikuwa hapa, lakini sikusikia chochote. Baada ya kuingia ndani tukarudishiwa kitu kama saa 4 hivi ndo nikapata sasa mtoto yangu, nikakosa hiyo mwingine. Sasa nilikuwa nataka hiyo mtoto ameenda wapi na ako wapi. Jina yake ni Zuhura Rahma. Ndio baba yake pia nimeshampigia, lakini ako njiani, anatoka Mombasa, anafika leo usiku. Sasa nataka hiyo mtoto ako wapi, nataka nijue wako wapi, na siwezi nimefuatilia, lakini ni mara St. Joseph, mara St. Mary, mara Naivasha, hata haieleweki, hatujui mahali yako. Lakini mimi nilikuwa nataka tu hiyo mtoto, hata kama ni nini, bora ipatikane tu, tujue mahali yako. Ndio kwa maana nimeongea. Asante.
Kwa majina yangu naitwa Sara Inga. Mimi ni mkaaji wa Gilgil upande ule wa Kamadada. Mimi nilipata hii habari asubuhi na mapema kitu saa 12, na nilipopata habari nikahisi ya kwamba nitakuja tu ili niweze kuona kinachoendelea. Lakini huyu dada yangu naye aliposikia, alikuwa na rafiki wake ambaye mtoto wake alikuwa kwa hii shule, na akapata ripoti kwamba huyu mtoto amepelekwa pale St. Joseph, na hapo ndipo ametoka kwa saizi. Na hiyo ndio habari ambayo ananiambia kwamba yale mambo ambayo ameona, ni ombi letu tu Mungu atusimamishie maafa, kwa sababu watoto wetu wameangamia wengi kwa hii shule, na tunasikia vibaya sana, hatujui tuseme nini. Ombi letu ni kwamba Mungu tu atusaidie na atie hawa wazazi nguvu ambao wameondokewa na wazazi wao. Pia huyu mama, Mungu ampatie nguvu akaweza kusimama, kwa sababu sio rahisi kuondokewa na mtoto. Sina mengi ya kusema, ila tu ni hiyo, ni mmoja wa wale ambao waliathirika kwa moto. Yeah. Familia washajua na wako pande ule na timu ya counseling, wanafanyiwa counseling. Yeah.
Majina naitwa Susan Kirugo. Nilipata ripoti kutoka kwa another parent who has a child here at around 5 in the morning, na nikatoka. I took my brother and sister and we came here, but unfortunately we weren't allowed in. Tumeingia around saa 1, no information, nothing. I'm fortunate I got my child, but ingine we don't know, but we had kuna fatalities. But what surprises me most ni kwamba we brought our kids here knowing that it's a police institution whereby our watoto watachungwa vizuri. I'm just wondering, hatuna intelligence? Could it know, they know where were they when these kids dormitory inachomeka? Where were they? Saizi ndo wanakimbia up and down. We parents are suffering.
Yeah, by the way, until watoto 16 wakufe, 74 injured all that time, and it's a police-owned institution. Kwani what kind of negligence do we have in this institution?
Our kids were roast. Are we safe? Are we safe as parents? I don't have much, but ni kuombea wazazi wenye wamepoteza watoto wao. Mungu tu awape nguvu. Wangu ako sawa, ako grade 10. Green na ameumia mguu kidogo, but at least amepewa some first aid for further medication tukifika nyumbani. Yes. Kwa majina naitwa Wambui Madheri, mimi ni mzazi hapa katika shule ya upili ya wasichana ya Utumishi. Na asubuhi tuliamkia habari za huzuni kwamba shule yetu imepatwa na mkasa wa moto, na tukaamkia kuja kuangalia watoto wetu jinsi walivyo, na inahuzunisha kupata kwamba wasichana wetu wengine hawajaweza kuponyoka hii hatari, lakini kwa wale ambao wameweza kuponyoka hii mkasa wa moto tuliwapata, lakini wamefadhaishwa sana na hii mkasa, na tunaomba Mungu awatie nguvu na pia aweze kuwatuliza. Na pia kwa wazazi wenzetu ambao pia hawajaweza kupata watoto wao, tunawapa pole kama wazazi na community ya Utumishi Girls, na tunaomba Mungu awape neema, na wale ambao wako hospitalini nawatakia uponyaji wa haraka na Mungu awazidishie neema. Ilikuwa hali ya kufadhaisha na kuhuzunisha na wasiwasi mwingi, manake uko njiani unaelekea kumwangalia mwanao, ili hali unajua kwamba ni hali ya hatari, una uhakika kama ako salama, kama ako hai, kama ameweza kuepuka hiyo janga. Kwa hivyo ilikuwa ni wakati wa kutatanisha na wakati wa wasiwasi. Safari ilikuwa ndefu kufika hapa Gilgil, lakini tunashukuru Mungu kwa yote, na tunaamini kwamba ataendelea kulinda watoto na hata kuwapa hekima na hata utulivu kwa wakati huu.
Kwa majina ni Jackson Koila, baba Siklal, sababu mtoto ndio niko naye hapa form 3. Kwa ile dom ilikuwa imeaffectiwa. Nashukuru Mungu kwa sababu nimepata yeye ako mzima na kwa hali ya afya. Isipokuwa tu ni ile msumbuko mtu anapatanga akiona visanga inapatikana, na pia naona pia roho yake ni ngumu kwa sababu amepoteza rafiki yake hapo wa karibu. Lakini kwa hayo yote tunaambia pole. Wale pia wasasi walipoteza wapendwa, naomba pole. Naambia hawa Mungu atafariji, na pia Mungu anapeana nafasi ya pili, sababu mambo yote kinateka Mungu anajuanga na sababu, anakuwa na sababu. Kwa hivyo anasema pole, na pia fraternity ya Utumishi Girls naambia wote pole. Naambia wote pole, tujikase na tuombe Mungu, kwa sababu Mungu bado atatupatia nafasi ya pili na tutaendelea na maisha yake, tutaendelea kama kawaida. Kwa hivyo nasema upole.
Labda mtoto wako amekusimulia ni nini kilitendeka usiku wa jana, ama labda kwa saidia mtoto?
Vile mtoto aliniambia kwa kifupi, aliniambia baadhi ya form 4 jana walikuwa wanasema wengine, kuna wengine wanaambia wengine wasilale. Kwa hivyo ni kama kitu ilikuwa imepanga.
Haya, labda shule umewaambiaje watoto watakaa nyumbani kwa muda gani, ama watawapigia simu waambie watoto?
Sijasikia hiyo kwa sababu nimefika kuchelewa, kwa sababu nimetoka kaunti ya Narok na bali tulikuwa barabara ni mbovu zaidi, tulipenetrate zaidi ndio tumefikia tu some 30 minutes ago. Kwa hivyo sijajua, lakini nitajua baadaye.
Yeah, so those are some of the parents who are speaking on the same. So I don't know, from it's not the first fire incident that has happened in schools, and the government has been saying they are putting some places, they are putting some things in measure in order to fix such challenges, but we've been seeing bado hii mambo imekuwa inaendelea, so I don't know if the ministry concerned is just, can we term it as a sleeping ministry, or who are we to blame? And the management of that school, you know, anyway. On the other case, on the Nino to do with the Ebola, I've seen some Kenyans reacting to the same. Let me just see here.
Why would you create a facility, pay my country and it doesn't serve me? Yet the same facility is going to host people who are endangering my own life. Yet if I end up contacting Ebola, God forbid, I can't be taken care of. Furthermore, the Kenyan system, I'm not so sure if they have their own system or facility to actually help me out.
Why do Americans think that their lives are so much important than the lives of Kenyans? So that they establish a facility in Kenya that is meant for only Americans. If they must be allowed to open that facility here, then it must be a facility that serves every human being in Kenya. I think it's not good for the Kenyan people. Furthermore, the USA funding was cut. It will not be a good thing.
Oh, this is the shorter one. Sorry, let me look for one. Yeah, so I don't know what you guys think about this Ruto Trump thing of wanting to bring the facility here. Itaweka citizens wa Marekani who have been in need. Let me just find a longer version of the video. I think this one was just fupi kidogo. Let me look for Kenyans' reaction to the same. The one that I had is kinda short. This Kenya US deal on this Ebola thing. because Kenyans have questioned it. This is shorter. Kenya has decided to be an Ebola guest. Na huyu PS naona kabisa amesema. Anyway, let me start with this PS Oluga
We, as the Ministry of Health,
before I go to Mwananchi's
are taking all measures to ensure that we protect Kenyans and we protect Kenya from international health outbreaks. And so far, we are dealing with an international public health outbreak for Ebola that is in DRC. As you note, we as Kenyans have a very strong healthcare response system. We are also
anasema we have a very strong responsive healthcare system. I don't know if you guys agree with this PS. Do you think we do have? Do you think we have a reactive health response system?
very strong when it comes to case management in terms of infectious diseases in general. And when we talk about case management, we mean hospital preparedness. We have the highest isolation capacity in the entire country, most of it that have also been built over COVID. And when it comes to infectious diseases, as an expert and a professional, I think many healthcare professionals all over the world will confirm to you that the protocol is nearly the same. It's about protection of the health worker. It's about protection against what we call infectious prevention and control in terms of the spread. And it is about ensuring that we mobilize to support the patients and treat them. And so far, 2,200 healthcare workers have been trained. But you also know that Kenya has been at the forefront of international response. In 2015, the country that was relied upon by the world to send 157 experts to help Sierra Leone contain and tackle Ebola from 2014 all the way to 2016. I have even been privileged to be part of the health experts that were in DRC and Rwanda border in 2013, and we were more than 90 of us. All of these are health workers capacity that no other region, no other country has. And so one of the things we want to ensure the countries that we are capable of what we call case management. The other thing is about laboratory. KEMRI is the fourth most prepared laboratory in the entire world when it comes to infectious diseases. As a matter of fact, even the countries that are having outbreaks, when West Africa had the first Ebola outbreak, when there was no vaccine or treatment for the other strains, just like right now there is a new strain that has no vaccine and has no treatment. It is laboratories like KEMRI where they were bringing samples. Right now, I can tell you without a doubt that countries in our neighboring region are actually relying on KEMRI as a reference laboratory to send their samples to confirm these cases of Ebola. So we are in a very good space when it comes to laboratory strength. We also have key logistical advantage. As you know, we have a last mile distribution from KEMSA. We also have other mechanisms of distribution. That is why we are relied upon even by the international community, the World Health Organization, the UN body that is in charge of health. Currently is setting up a logistics center here in Kenya. The Africa CDC has also identified Kenya as the vantage place from where they can do all the logistical arrangements for the entire continent. Kenyan government continues to protect the Kenyans, but as we continue to protect the Kenyans, we cannot abdicate our obligation and our duty in global health security. This is what we have been known for decades. That is why Kenya is the place where we've done malaria research. This is why Kenya is the place where more than 100 countries send cases polio for testing. That is why Kenya is the country that is relied upon when there is problems such as COVID-19. We had hundreds of international patients coming to Kenya. And just like we also may send some of our patients, including, for example, cancer patients, to other countries. You know, this is our expertise. So this is the time to show up.
But even if he's talking about cancer, Ebola is a different kind of disease. It has no cure nor treatment. Mgonjwa wa Ebola, huwezi linganisha mgonjwa wa Ebola with these other diseases that this PS is speaking. I don't know, they are just speaking because they are speaking, or mimi ndo nafikiria vingine.
This is like a marathon has been called in London. Do you say that you're not going to send Kenyans there? This is our expertise. And so from that perspective, we are very confident as a country and as a government that one responsibility is to protect the Kenyan. But as we protect the Kenyan, we can also extend this expertise, we can also extend this experience in the broader global health security response and assist the region, because outbreaks do not care about borders. They do not care about opinions. And you cannot close yourself and say that, oh, you know us, we are good, we are Kenya, we will protect our borders, and then just forget about it, you know. And if we are to really look at our contribution to One Health, this is the time for Kenya to stand up. And so far, I want to confirm that we do not have any single case of Ebola. That means that there are things that have been done. The fact that we have still 55,000 people means that we have the capacity to test. Other countries are relying on us on that capacity to test. We have not seen any health professional that is concerned or that is panicking, meaning that they are assured of the confidence that the country has. We have a number of Kenyans who were in Sierra Leone, including our very good friend, the chairman of the Kenya Union of Clinical Officers, Peterson Washira. He can say this for himself among many people who were in Sierra Leone. And none of them, first of all, got infected in the 2 years. None of the Kenyan health workers, we lost them, and now they are in country. So in fact, some of them have reached out to us, telling us that we are ready. We have deployed a number of them in our isolation center in Kenech, in isolation center in Alupe. We also have a number of other isolation centers that we built during COVID at the county governments. And some of them are also helping us with the public health emergency operation centers that we have at the national level, and also the ones that we have at the county level, 15 of them. So I want to thank our healthcare workers for this strong show of response and a strong show of readiness to respond to any case of Ebola.
Yeah, so that was the PS Oluga. They are saying that they are very prepared. They are very ready. I don't know what you guys think about that. Yeah, Kenya faces global scrutiny.
Kenya is now at the center of a global attention following reports that the United States is considering setting up a quarantine facility in the country for American citizens exposed to Ebola during the ongoing outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo and Uganda. The Kenyan government has not confirmed or denied the claims. In a statement to newsrooms, the Ministry of Health has insisted that the country is open to partnerships that strengthen health security and reaffirm shared commitment to protecting lives through coordinated science-based action. We begin tonight with NTV's Helen Aura.
Sources have intimated to NTV that the United States government is in talks with the Kenyan government to set up a quarantine facility which will host Americans considered high risk or those who have tested positive for Ebola from DRC and Uganda. The development has sparked mixed reactions among Kenyans and health stakeholders.
When you're talking about having a quarantine station in this country, well, it's a good move because it's actually going to give us an opportunity to be able to do a lot of things. But then before we do that, before it happens, we need to ensure that we have the public health infrastructure properly embedded, properly constructed, and we also need to be very cautious because we're looking at the risk levels. Remember, I've said that Kenya has not confirmed any EBD disease. We need to make sure that we need to have scientific evidence to prove that this deal is not going to bring another exposure or the risk levels of our Kenyans.
On the other hand, the Ministry of Health has maintained that Kenya currently has not confirmed any Ebola case, but maintains that the country is on high alert.
We have put all measures in place on all our borders. We have put scanners at the airport. We are doing very serious screening of all passengers entering our country. And most of those who have either coming from Uganda or on transit through Kinshasa.
A statement that now seems quite contradicting following the situation in Busia County.
Watu wanapigwa tu magari peke yao na wako mabasi na watu wa kutembea hawapimwi, na inafaa waweke vipimo kila mahali, hata kwa makodokodo, ili watu waweze kupimwa, sababu hapa kwa mpaka makodo ni mengi, wanapita bila kupimwa. Hiyo Ebola bila imekuja, sisi tunabeba dereva wa matrela wenye anasafiri kutoka nchi mbalimbali. Naomba serikali ikuwe na mikakati ya kupima sisi kama bodaboda.
The proposal to quarantine American citizens in Kenya is a stark contrast to the way previous administrations responded to outbreaks during which healthcare workers and other U.S. citizens exposed to the virus were flown back home to be treated at specialized medical units. Recently, an American doctor who developed symptoms was flown to a hospital in Germany.
We are actually looking at other situations whereby we're actually going to have more PHOs being employed in those quarantine areas to be able to help us run the risk, able to lower the risk, and also provide health education to the travelers and all other people actually surrounding ourselves. So to us, we see it as an opportunity for us to be able to partner with the United States of America, only that partnership should be in tandem with the existing public health laws.
According to a statement by the Ministry of Health, and I quote, the government of Kenya notes ongoing discussions with the U.S. government and other global partners regarding.
Yeah, so I don't know what you guys think about this scam. Previous video that I was playing about Jeremiah Kioni. At first, he talked about the fire that happened at Utumishi Academy. But as he continued, he talked about this Kenya-USA deal and this Ebola thing. Which I was just trying to look for that exact part.
Actually, it's not the memory, it's the funeral service. As a country, since we got the Yoruba buses, the level, the killing of young kids, when they're...
Give me a second.
Things that people, Kenyans could... Nimeona kwa simu hii kitu, when the center cannot hold, everything falls apart. We are losing kids. Ati watoto wanapotea na wanauzwa, na wengine I do not know how accurate those statements are, ati wapatikana kwa fridge pahali, those kind of things, very scary things.
Yeah.
Again, it points to the government of the day, the security. The government has two things: security of the person and security of our property. That's the starting point.
Oh, it is just near where he is going to speak about Ebola. So I just started from there.
Our own security is not there. If you are not certain about the security of your child, it is the most disarming thing. Kila mtoto anaangalia baba yake, mama yake, na anajua nikiwaona niko sawa.
Yeah.
So we have failed as a nation. It's really a collapse of the system. It is, I don't know. And then we have this other thing you're bringing called Ebola.
Yes.
So a crisis after the other. Haujui tunapaliwa nini?
No, we have seen news. It's a story that was done by New York Times that Kenya has been asked by the United States to construct like a quarantine center for patients with Ebola.
Give me a second before I start playing that one. It is very, very, very cold here in Kenya. I don't know if it is cold for places yenye nyinyi mko ama ni huku penye niko ndio kuna baridi sana. Naona rafrafu hapa comment section. Maybe anaweza niambia kama huko alipo kuna baridi kama hii ya huku.
Ebola.
Rafrafu, wewe unasemaje kuhusu hili swala la Ebola? Rafrafu, what's your opinion on history ya Trump na Kasongo? Hao wamesema foreign policy yao nasema they're supposed to protect the American citizens. Huku ni joto tu. Kwani Rafrafu, where are you? Coast? Sisi huku ni mbaya.
And Ebola, we are told again, it's a disease that has no vaccine.
Yes.
Unapona tu kwa mapenzi yake Mwenyezi Mungu. And then we want to be the ones hosting. Tuwalete hapa kutoka huko Congo.
Yes. Or Uganda.
Or Uganda. It will be the most, any governor who allows that quarantine to be within his or her boundaries must be held to account. We should be vigilant from at the county level. Tusiruhusu hiyo kitu iwekwe kwa any county. Kama ni Nairobi, watu wa Nairobi ikikuja kwa area yote, sisi watu wa Nairobi, we should come out and protest and refuse it. If it's Nyandarua, we expect that the governor of Nyandarua will be vigilant enough and call all of us to say that we do not want those kind of things within our county. Kwa sababu ni ugonjwa umeletewa mkufe. The Americans have all the facilities. They have the Guantanamo Bay where they take the terrorists.
Yeah.
Why would they just fly in and fly their people out? Hakuna kuweka hapa. Ni wao. Hata walitoka kwa wakikuja hapa, au wamekuja hapa wakaenda huko. Walikuja wanaenda huko direct. They should use their ability to, we saw them kidnap the Venezuelan president. We seen them take out people very easily from other countries. Let them come and take their people and create that quarantine in their own country.
Why do you think Kenya is signing up for this?
Because somebody is being paid. Hii ni pesa.
Wait, we want to sell.
I want to tell you, for that to happen, somebody will be paid. And they will good money as you die.
How much money can you be paid to host Ebola patients? Sincerely?
When your morals and your values are worked, you don't need a lot of money. That's the case. You don't need a lot of money. In any case, like you're asking, what is this money that you need to be paid to cause the death of another? Because bringing the Ebola people here, I mean, why are they bringing them to this country?
That's the question we Kenyans don't understand.
It must be that they think our leadership is kaput. There must be something wrong with our leadership. You remember, let me go back. You remember Obama, and I'm not saying this with any whatever. You know, Obama coming to tell us about issues of LGBTQ.
Yes.
And the answer that was given to him by Uhuru.
Yes.
Yeah, we don't tell us to think this as the issue that you have come to discuss with us. Sisi tuko na shida ya chakula. So why pick on us on this? It is doubting the quality of our leaders. And if this is the case, then it will be important for them to issue a statement before the end of the day.
Well, Dwala issued a statement yesterday.
Confirming.
Yes. Well, not really confirming, but saying the government is willing to work and negotiate on matters health. It was very broad-based, quote unquote.
Jesus Christ. My take is that if this happens, as we are fighting the finance bill, through whatever means Gen Z and everybody else would want to put on the table, we must include this. This we must reject as a country.
Reject.
We must reject it as a country. And political parties should have been out today saying no.
But we've not even seen Jubilee issue a statement.
I hope the secretary to do such.
Okay. You know, the most, what I find intriguing about this Ebola story is that when that ship came, the first one that where they discovered the patient's heart that was hanging in the ocean for a while, those patients from the US were taken to Germany because they said Germany is the only country that has ability to treat. Why would suddenly Trump change his mind to Kenya and not Germany, which has the resources?
Well, certainly because Germany is a developed country, US is a developed country. Kenyans are people struggling, and they have many other diseases. Ebola cannot be anything much. You know, it's just contempt.
Really now?
Yes, it's just being contemptuous of us. I mean, look at even the issues of COVID. How long did it take for us in Africa, Kenya, to get the vaccine? We were told, wait until we have finished vaccinating people in the US and other developed world. If that did not wake us up as leaders, I don't think anything will. because kuna watu kwanza na wengine wafuate. So they can as they are looking for vaccine, we can have the quarantine within us. Sisi tukikufa maana yetu si haiko juu sana. Yes.
As Kenyans generally, and this is from me who's even also concerned, when we see the leadership of the country, and here in case being say the CS of health, because that's the person leading the ministry, doing such a thing, what is our sole responsibility
We
and
lost
how do we
parliament.
fight it?
We lost parliament. Sarah, all these problems is because we lost parliament. Parliament is our first point of call.
Yeah.
Today, those in the opposition and the few sane ones in government will be on the floor with such a motion and everything that should move the government in the opposite direction. And I don't want to put 2 minutes.
Yeah, I think I was just supposed to play for you the part where he was talking about Ebola. Yeah, the part that he was talking about Ebola. I can see in the comment section, Raf is saying ati ugonjwa wa Ebola hawezi, mgonjwa wa Ebola hawezi ingia US, apelekwe Kenya. Hivyo ndio Trump hivyo ndio inasemekana. Wagonjwa wa Ebola wakuje wakwarantiniwe huku. And then another thing that I wanted to talk about is there is this 25-year-old that has created a death clock. But all I can tell you is, if this guy continues to be the president, Ruto akiendelea kukuwa president, every Kenyan must buy a handkerchief, because we are about to cry more. We are about to do what? To cry more. He just does things, sijui kama huwa anajifikiria ama anamkanga tu akiambiwa iko basi bendera ufuata upepo. Nimeona leo amekuwa na maombi, eti kuna bunge kwaya na kwaya master ni Osoro. I don't know if we are in a country or in a drama festival. Where is it? Where is it? Sorry, I'm just trying to look for it. Na nimeona kwa list, ni list ya nini? List ya kuenda State House kufanya negotiation ya broad based. Nimeona that Opiyo Wandayi, Joho Huyu ni nani mwingine huyu cabinet secretary? Mbadi.
What are they?
Wametolewa kwa list na Oburu. Wametolewa kwa list na Oburu because Oburu feels since they are allies of Ruto, or rather they are already in government, they might make biased decisions. So
For years, billion.
There is just this lady who has launched a Kenyan debt clock which track Kenyan's national debt. So let me just show you before we go into okay, I think it was just an interview where they were looking at the current government and how the appointments in the Public Service Commission goes and how it really is. So let me just start with that clock and then yeah.
Of shillings in public funds have disappeared into scandals, stalled projects, and audit queries. Yet even as Kenyans shoulder rising taxes and a ballooning national debt, many still struggle to understand how the country keeps borrowing, where the money goes and who is held accountable. One young Kenyan woman is turning that frustration into a digital reckoning. At just 25 years old, Ellen Kawela has created the Kenya Debt Clock, an online platform tracking Kenya's debt growth in real time, exposing the speed at which the country sinks deeper into debt every second. NTV's Ashley Atieno reports.
So walk us through. Tick by tick by tick, Kenya's debt grows every second, adding thousands of shillings to a burden already carried by taxpayers. We are borrowing. And now those numbers are no longer buried in reports, budgets, or parliamentary papers. On a screen glowing in real time, Kenya's debt climbs without pause, a digital counter capturing what many have long struggled to understand in numbers alone. Behind it is 25-year-old Ellen Kawila, a Gen Z civic educator from Kilifi County, who has turned public frustration into a tool designed to bring national debt into plain sight. An estimate, according to the figures provided. And with the amount of documents that I have, or let's say numbers or figures, it might not be an exact estimate because some lenders, or let's say the CBK was uneasy, or sometimes, let me just say it directly, they did not directly give all information. So we are also in the process of updating on a daily. For years, Kenya's public finance story has been written through scandal and scrutiny. Kawila says her journey into civic education intensified during the 2024 anti-finance bill protests, when young Kenyans mobilized online, demanding transparency and accountability in taxation and public spending. But her deeper dive came after reading audit reports and county expenditure, documents where she says she encountered repeated patterns of concern. Almost 60 to 70% is spent on salaries. If 40% remains, will the people travel? Will the MCAs and the governor and the senator travel? Or will development take place? It is this frustration that gave rise to the Kenyan Debt Clock, an online platform built using publicly available data from the Central Bank of Kenya, the National Treasury, the IMF, and the World Bank. The system estimates how quickly Kenya's debt is growing, tracking borrowing patterns, interest accumulation, and debt per citizen, translating complex financial systems into a simple, constant reality from President Moi's era. According to her, Kenya's debt currently stands at more than 12 trillion shillings.
Okay, we need to have an executive head who functions properly, who can appoint, let's say, functional ministers.
But beyond the numbers, she says, the goal is awareness, because for her, the issue is not just debt, it is what the debt represents.
As a developing country, being put on the red by an international lender. Huyu ni mmoja ameweka in the red. Akitoka hapo aende kwa another lender amwambie hawa hawalipangi loan. Atakata funding. Na hiyo funding yenye tumekuwa tukipewa imekuwa ikiibiwa gari 10, estate 5.
And with the Kenyan debt clock out in the public, Kenya's growing debt is no longer just a figure in government reports. It is sticking in real time before the public. For Ellen Kawila, the platform is a bold demand for transparency, accountability, and answers. Ashley Atieno, NTV.
Yeah, that is it. So I don't know what you guys think
This isn't just any
about
chat. It's ClickUp
that
chat. Sure, you can
25-year-old.
tag your team, ask questions, and even drop an emoji. But the real magic is how it connects to the rest of
These
my work.
ads keep on.
I can tag a task, a doc, or a whiteboard. Everything I need in one place. This goes both ways. Chats can also be referenced inside tasks. People join in on the fun.
Yeah, so I don't know what you guys think
Chat might be connected
about
to a
this
project, so I can see the lists,
25-year-old
dashboards, and docs side by
who
side,
has
making it
created
effortless to reference what I need.
that
If my
debt
boss has
clock.
an ask, I can turn his message into a task instantly.
Another thing that I'd also like us to talk about is our is what you think about the appointment criteria to the cabinet by the current regime, and this will be based on an interview. Let me just try to find it. Listen. Yeah. There was this interview by Jeff. He was hosting Kibicho and Mukisa Kichui. And there was a question that they were asked concerning the president, because they were like, the president, he was in a rally, akarushiwa kiatu. One day he was in Kibra, akarushiwa chupa. And then the recent one in Kilifi. And then they answer, when Mukisa Kitui was answering, he was like, the president is the one who is making himself available for that, because he is just all over. He's out and about every now and then. If not on a rooftop of a car, then this and that. So he also talked about members of the cabinet. Let me say the cabinet secretaries. It's like now the appointment criteria is just politicians who are taken by the president. Like it feels like politicians have replaced career professionals as the head of public service, among many other things. So I think I'll just play the same.
A guy being told you are the one who read. Thank you very much, Dr. Mukisa Kitui in the house, and also
one of the most powerful civil servants in the Uhuru Kenyatta administration, Karanja Kibijo, both in the House to talk about life. Also, one of the most powerful civil servants in the Uhuru Kenyatta administration, Karanja Kibijo, both in the House to talk about life. What was life then as it is now? And gentlemen, real quick, let me start with you, Bwana PS. How's life now? Are you in retirement? How's life now?
Thank you very much. First of all, before I answer that, I'm very happy to be here to share a platform with a very distinguished, respected leader of this country.
Indeed.
I actually knew Mukisa when he was Minister for Trade, and he was a firebrand at Kiss 100. I think there was a program very quick, Quick Fire.
Quick Fire, correct.
Crossfire. So I used to listen to it, and I'm very sad that people of Kimilili thought otherwise, because these are the kind of leaders we should have actually.
Indeed.
I'm out here enjoying life. Just come from playing golf.
Oh,
yeah.
What's your handicap?
23.
23.
Yeah. Not a serious golfer, but I've walked 12 kilometers. And obviously living in this country, and I'm sure we are going to discuss what days we think and what days we not.
Absolutely.
I think that's the conversation.
Absolutely. Daktari, what's your handicap?
My handicap is 20. And I don't want to spend too much time reminiscing about what things used to be like. I want to say, on the basis of what I've experienced, what is my reading of the state of play in a country that is in a sad situation today?
Yeah. Sad, but not hopeless.
Increasingly hopeless, but I've always been an optimist that we have been able to dig ourselves out of difficult circumstances.
Yes, time and again.
Yeah, but those who are going down should stop digging.
Because we're digging further. We're digging further. You know, okay, but yes, in your time, okay, let's talk about the president's security recently. And you were Interior PS, right?
Yes.
The president's security. 5 times it's been breached. 5 times. The latest one, the guy even went and put his arm around the president. What's going on? What went wrong?
Well, I think I worked in the security sector for 7 years, but before then, I was also in the security sector, serving in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And I think what we are seeing is unprecedented. And there is no possible explanation that one can give, because when one is a president, that is a symbol of national unity. And obviously, you know the consequences if something wrong went on.
Yeah.
And I think it's quite reckless for the handlers to allow it not once, not twice, 5 times.
Yeah.
And I think the less we say about it, the better.
No, but would that have ever happened under your watch?
No, because I'll tell you, Jeff, the people who take care of VVIP security are highly trained. Actually, they are trained in Israel. Very, very highly trained. And I think the qualification to be in the team that protects the president must be nothing else other than you are trained properly and not because of any other considerations. And that is what we enforced during our time, that we would only allow people in that team because of the training they have and the commitment they have, and not because they would be knowing Kebisho or they would be knowing whoever else. And that's why we never had such incidents like that. Then there is a bit of work that you must always do before a president goes. You go and do your reke properly. You make sure the place.
But even if he's talking about this issue of security and whatever, we could clearly see that thing was scripted. Ile ya Kilifi, it was scripted.
this is sanitized, and you make sure that his close protection is watching carefully. For someone to walk from a fourth row to the podium was fairly reckless.
Yeah. And you know, even if we talk about professionalism among security providers, the destination of security should also be more responsible. You know, you have a situation where a president is permanent on a rooftop of a car, stopping in every other place. However good you are, you cannot rule out snipers. Yes. You know, because the president is in permanent campaign mode on top of it's a very old-fashioned style of leadership. I think it doesn't help very much. Even his.
Do you guys agree with that?
Security detail when he is so fond of doing a very, very monotonous Land Cruiser stops and addresses to people. You know, we've never had a president who was obsessed with rooftop stops. And don't forget, campaign things. These are not leadership things.
Don't forget, there was a time when someone threw a shoe at him. Remember?
Yeah. But he's making himself available for that. It could have been worse. Yeah. If a sniper a marksman tried to wait, they know where vehicles will stop and he will shoot out of the roof and start insulting opposition. And it's a very easy time to get him. So apart from the performance of security officers, the president should be presidential. Stop walking around like he's campaigning all the time.
Yeah, so there is this yeah, there is this one thing that Mukiso Kitu is saying. He's talking about the president. We've seen many instances where people have said that Ruto is not presidential, or rather, he's not behaving the way other presidents, the previous presidents of Kenya, are behaving. You could see the president maybe addressing the nation, like ulikuwa at least hata una miss kuona president ndio wakati president anakuja maybe ana address the nation, it's like umekaa bila kumwonaona. But here Mukisa Kitu is saying the president has decided to be unpresidential. He's not even presidential, and he has made himself too available for many things. He's all over campaigning, like ako kila mahali, hata kwa ofisi yake huyu akai juu. How many times have you seen Ruto out here? Hapumziki wala hatulii. Kuna mchoma.
Someone is sleeping on the job, like the PS was saying, right? Someone is definitely sleeping on the job.
A security person sleeping on the job, but the president is also sleeping on his job.
Lime pies with burnt meringue topping. Possibly resist. This has got to be one of my absolute favourites. You're going to love it. Got some lovely ripe avocado here, some fresh lime juice, lime zest, and some agave.
But CS, you were CS for a while, right?
And I was minister.
Yeah, minister. Sorry, pardon me, minister.
Yeah.
But you had a PS as well, right?
Yes.
What was your role? What was the PS's role?
Okay, that's a very important question. Yeah. One of the biggest disasters of government today is politicians have replaced career professionals as a man.
Do you agree with that, guys? Politicians replacing career professions. Mtu kama Murkomen kupewa Ministry of Interior. Like ni watu tu wamepachikwa hapo because they are friends of a specific, the person who is doing the, let me say, Ruto.
Managers of public service. See, This nonsense of appointing politicians as advisors, when you're professional, trained cadres of public officers in charge of ministries and departments, takes decisions away from career professionals to political errand boys. And this is part of the most significant delusion of public service in Kenya. Yeah.
As they watered it down.
Absolutely. I mean, I'll give you an example. I had a fantastic permanent secretary who I got Kibaki to accept that I will get from his job as the head of the Kenya Bureau of Statistics. And we had engagements. He will seek the opinion of senior officers. We will find consultants if we did not have sufficient in-house knowledge on professionally advised positions that government should take. This is what I took to the world, this is what I took to cabinet. But what do you have now? The president listens to presidential advisors, failed politicians who are being kept happy because they have said the nice things about the president. And then they come up with the most outrageous positions as government positions. And we can run the whole mill about government failings because of the diminishing attention to professionalism in public service, elevation of the opinion of political sycophants.
Absolutely. But yes, when it came to responsibilities, PS and ministers, PS and CS in your part, who was the senior? Who was the boss?
Let me first of all put a footnote for what Dr. Mukisa is saying. The structure of civil service when you leave university at 22 is such that if you walked through the civil service journey properly, you will be at job group T when you're 52 years old, assuming those days when people are supposed to retire at 55. So you'll be at job group T.
Starting at
job group K. When you leave university. Then you climb every 3 years, you do this course, you do that. At 52 is when you will get to job group T. So that you have 3 years to serve and retire. Now what?
I think it is better off when the camera is... Yeah, it will be better that way.
What has happened is because of what Dr. Mukisa is saying, you get people who will be 30, 35 because of political correctness, get job group T. When there is an old man who has worked from university and has walked the journey with a lot of experience. I'll tell you because I spent all my life around civil service. There isn't a place I know where there is a collection of knowledge like civil service. I tell you, you throw a stone in the corridors of public office, you will get a master's degree. And the wealth of knowledge in civil service is so huge, but you need to have the will to use it. And if you don't have the will to use it, then what will happen is they will pull back and start marking.
So I think within across all the three arms of government, the parliament, the judiciary, and the executive. In the parliament, we just have demagogues. Yes, they are learned or whatever, but if you look at the decisions that they make or the laws that the bills that they pass into law, they don't behave like, I don't know how they behave, but they always do their work. They always make sure that they represent the president instead of representing the people that chose them. If you come to the executive, which is the two men are talking about here, the executive is completely, especially the cabinet secretaries. This is what walikuwa wanaandamana, but the dude just decided kuonesha ni kama amefire all cabinet secretary, not the following ninio to come, reshuffle the cabinet. When it comes to the judiciary, it's like the judges have also been corrupted or something. That is why. So most of the institutions in Kenya are not functioning. And I think there was a video that I was playing yesterday. The reason as to why these institutions are not functioning or functional or acting in accordance with the people, because he was like, if these institutions were working and were functionable, the number one person to be arrested will be the president. Anyway, let's continue.
Things up. So they'll start, because you are minister, they'll start writing to you to advise. And once you start seeing civil servants seeking advice from top, then you know the civil service has collapsed. But people who have not been in civil service will be very happy to be asked to advise by their juniors, and of course with a big pen write approved, and the civil servants will dutifully comply with the wrong thing because the boss has approved. So during our time, because I was also fortunate to have served during the times Kisa is talking about, when civil service was civil service. The work of the permanent secretary, that time, remember, the ministers were also elected members of parliament, was to be the accounting officer, to take care of all government resources, to ensure that there is prudence in utilization of public funds, and of course the other things related to resources, and also authorized officer. So they are the ones who would be also the head of human resource.
You're saying was. Is that no longer the case?
It's no longer the case. And I think if you just asked me one question and said, answer this one and leave, why I think things are going wrong and will continue going wrong, it's exactly that point. And I think I agree with Mukisa entirely. If you make civil service dysfunctional, then you cannot have perpetuity of government, because remember, government is perpetual. Politicians will come, the top leadership will come, there will be an election cycle every 5 years, they leave, but civil service continues, and therefore you must ensure that they are empowered enough and trusted enough so that even if there's change of leadership at the top, then there isn't change in policy, there isn't change in focus of government.
Dr. do you agree with that? It's a fact that not all, but maybe some of these people are jokers.
Oh, wait, what's that?
Sorry. I think these ads are becoming.
I want to just narrow down on a little area that is not getting a lot of public attraction. The erosion of professionalism in the management of public affairs is very well manifest in the conduct of international relations by the Ruto government. If career professionals were in charge of policy and advising the presidency on what to do, a number of things will have happen or not happen in Kenya. Number one, Kenya will not be hosting and giving passports to Janjaweed, the Rapid Deployment Forces, a racist Arab militia which is killing people in Darfur and Zagawa because they're black.
Yani, if you just listen to the things that Kasongo does, sijui hata unasikia umfanye aje. If you'll be given a room mko tu wawili hapo ndani, what can you do to this man?
A president who is darker than me is supporting a racist Arab force which is killing black people in Sudan. That would not happen if you listen to professionals. Similarly,
would that have happened in the administration?
It would never have happened. Kibaki was a proud Pan-Africanist, not a virtual, impression Pan-Africanist who says the right things before cameras and then does the opposite. We have a flawed leadership in the way we've dealt with the Sudan. We pretended away, but we've hurt the tea sector in this country because Sudan was one of our largest export markets. It's also because of an extremely irresponsible decision we've taken. Career diplomats will have told Ruto, this is nonsense, don't touch it. Secondly, Ruto undermined Raila's campaign for leadership of African Union because in the run-up to the election, he openly sided with Israel's genocidal invasion of West Bank and Lebanon for no understandable, justifiable reason, breaking a tradition of Kenya over many years, which was institutionally in our memory, if we listen to professional civil servants. Number 3.
I think kila mtu anakuanga na ubaya wake, lakini ya huyu wetu, I don't know how we can measure it or count it.
Today, as I speak now, there's a massive uprising of xenophobia in South Africa. South African blacks visiting the homes of non-South African blacks and saying, show us your immigration papers, hurting them. Countries like Nigeria, Ghana are taking up serious positions, engaging the government of South Africa, offering transport for the citizens who are under threat to go home. Kenya is out to lunch. We're not looking at it because we're not taking seriously. Number 4, the biggest crisis in this region right now is the outbreak of a new strain of Ebola in Ituri in eastern DRC.
Yeah. Now, Mukisa also talks about this issue of Ebola.
Kenya government in the news today you are reading is saying we are engaging with America talking about international activity. Nonsense. That's not the truth. The truth has been announced by Washington that the U.S. has got the Kenya government to open up CDC facilities in Nairobi for monitoring and observing Americans coming out of DRC.
Not Africans.
Not Africans. Not Kenyans. Not anybody else. But why are we offering Americans to fly people suspected to be in an area with Ebola to come to Kenya when they could make a quarantine area in DRC? What is the benefit to Kenya? Because, yes, master, Uncle Sam's children, what America wants, will smile in a false teeth and pretend that this is all right with Kenya. If Ruto listened to professional advice and there's institutional capacity in this country, both in the medical services and in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, we will not be rushing to please America at the risk of importation of Ebola in Kenya. An Ebola question we should ask ourselves today is this. A lot of the trailer traffic to DRC from Kenya is going through Busia and Malawi. But a lot of trailers from DRC and Uganda are coming to Kenya through Ruakaka. Ruakaka has a health inspection unit on the Ugandan side, but not on the Kenyan side. So we put up inspection facilities at the airport. There's no Ebola coming by air. But there is no inspection of people traveling to Kenya by truck through Ruakaka on the...
Yeah, now you can listen to the conflicting statement of the questions that we Kenyans are asking ourselves concerning this thing. Like there should be too much emphasis on these trucks that are going to DRC and the trucks that are passing via Uganda. That is where we should put focus as a country. But now, it's okay.
In Uganda border, if you listen to professionals and have institutional capacity existing, if we stop listening to political cronies, we'll not be doing that kind of thing.
But let's not forget that during your time, Yuri, those Armenian brothers, Yatur's brothers,
Yes,
they came and they occupied this country in
they
a way.
did not occupy this country, but they played a criminal role with the support of a lot of people under the watch of Michuki. And I thought it's one of the most stupid things I was done in the time that I was Minister of Government.
Yeah.
Because it was not really. I saw the two brothers. And remember, I went before a judicial inquiry, and presented my views of what I'd seen, what I'd experienced when I met them at the airport and the chaos that they brought, and what was going on. And I condemned it up to now. I think those who were working in cahoots with those terrorists abused and diminished the stature of the Kibaki government.
Absolutely. But yes, when it comes to a crisis or something that, the president wants immediate action, does he call the CS or does he call the PS?
I think in the structure of government, the top organ, depending on the emergency and the nature of what the crisis is, the top organ is cabinet, you know that. Then cabinet gets technical advice from the panel of PSs, and the PSs have a whole host of technical people to advise them. I think this is what has been bypassed, because if you look, say, in the Ministry of Interior, where I worked for the longest, I would generate any policy paper, any advice, anything going to Parliament, to the minister to check, because minister is the political head of our ministry and the spokesperson. But before that is presented to the minister, it has been processed by technical people who have university degrees in the topics. And I think this is where we are bypassing. So I don't think during our time it was possible that anything would arrive at cabinet before it has been processed through the PS's committee.
Do you think these PSs and CSs are trying to outdo each other, especially in front of the media? It's like a competition for airtime.
I honestly won't say I've taken a lot of time to understand how they work, but we have the results.
Volunteer an opinion.
Go on.
Appointment as PS, yes, is not career progression because of your work up the ladder as it used to be. It is broadly a political appointment now. But there's something else that has happened. President Ruto talks to PSs and directors of departments to get a summary and the details of what is going on in the ministry behind the back of the CS. So when he goes to cabinet, I was in the Kibaki cabinet. The president expected us to talk with the professional officers in our ministries with the facilitation of the permanent secretary to prepare cabinet memoranda and to argue the positions on cabinet papers in cabinet. What happens today? Ruto tries to prove to these ministers that he knows what's going on in their ministries better than them.
Yeah. Mmesikia hiyo? The president behaving as if he knows the ministry much than the one who runs that ministry. But I think he's behaving that way because he has put his people in charge of that of those ministries, and therefore they can't question him, even if he goes and does anything that he wants in that ministry. They can't question him. But if they could be like genuine expertise, and I don't think that could be happening now here in Kenya. And I don't know as a country if we could be facing some of the problems that we are facing now.
So, cabinet deliberations on cabinet papers becomes a monologue. It's not ministers as principal advisors to the president with accumulated experience of the professional officers preparing an informed dialogue and public collective decision making. Do you think they're scared of him? Or what is it, fear? Or what is it? It is not just being scared of him. He is running a one-man show. If you try to show that you are clever, you are a liability. He is the know-it-all. And you try to prove to you, this is what's happening in your ministries and you don't know. Because he goes behind the backs of his ministers to get facts about the ministries and tries to use those tidbits to prove that he knows everything more than them. So good ministers just become spectators, and cabinet processes are basically rubber stamping of what the president wants. They become yes boys and yes girls. Your question.
I think there are very many different styles of running a country, and I think when a government comes to power, they come to power on the basis of that the other government is not doing well. I think you wouldn't look for power if the other government is doing very well. And I think we are losing a lot of time because you come to power because you want to do things better. And because you have now the power, for heaven's sake, do things better. You know, I see when you are reading news, sports news there, you must be a fan of the relay, the 4x4. You know, Jeff, yes. Government being perpetual is like that relay of 4x4. When you are competing and the guy before you brings you the baton, yes, so that you continue competing. If he had slipped, if he had, for any reason, arrived late, or you drop the baton and pick it, and he brings it to you, you don't stop and start asking him, why had you dropped the baton? Why were you? You pick it and run. And when you get to the end, if you are not actually the people, if you are lucky that you overtake, you take the baton to the next person, they run faster and you win. You are collectively winners, four of you. But what I'm seeing, and I have a big problem with it, is that everybody in this on this earth who seeks power because you want to be a better leader. You want to make things better than you found them. So you've been passed the baton. For heaven's sake, run and outsmart. And when you get to the end, if you have won, there would be a guy being told, you are the one who ran first. It's the four of you who are winners. And I think the beef I have today, and it's current, because I bear a collective responsibility of having been in the previous government, is that you have come, convinced Kenyans that you can do better than these people. Then Kenyans believe you. For heaven's sake, prove you are better than them. And you see, the proof that you are better than these people is not verbal. You know, for example, and when I was in government, I always said there isn't, for example, a meter that's called a security meter to measure how secure are you as a person. How secure do you feel as a person? There isn't a meter like that or not. It is your action. I remember having said those days, because I used to go to Parkland Sports Club at 5 a.m. in the morning, I would meet some Indian women there near the Parklands area at 5 a.m. with their kids going somewhere. That is an indication that they feel secure in their country. Yes. Do you find them today? I challenge you tomorrow morning, wake up at 5, use that road and see whether you find them. So it is not about what you say. Yeah. When I go to the supermarket today, do I go to spend free the way you would spend before? So it's not about what you say. It's not about what you tell us you have done. It's what do we feel as a citizen? In terms of services, what do we feel as citizens? And I think there is no amount of bashing of the previous regime that makes things better. So I would think because people, you criminalize things that world over are the reason people seek for power.
Dr. Ari, what PS has said is spot on, because in this relay race, it's the same team. It's the same. You're handing the baton to a player or a runner in the same team, and yet people don't see it that way.
Pepsodent charcoal has two of nature's powerful whitening ingredients. With a power of activated charcoal and lemon essence, it removes stains and whitens teeth naturally. Convince?
Well, because they are not continuing the race that they inherited the baton for. They're running a different race. I think I was part of a government which had a sense of what we're trying to do. We're trying to achieve the goals of collective set ourselves as Agenda 2030. We'll fall short in some areas and to address where was the weakness, can we do better? But now, both under Uhuru and Ruto, one of the worst mistakes they made is to abolish the National Economic and Social Council, which was a prefect of Agenda 2030, steering the medium to longer term national goals. We have replaced it with short-term goals that the horizon of our activity is the next election on a positive side. On the negative side, our horizon is how can we become richer than those who are before us? And that totally
Yeah, so I was just putting any of those two gentlemen. They were talking about the state of our country, and their main focus was on the Public Service Commission. And we can all see what is happening with our executive. For me, the things that I've seen in the current regime, there are things that I've never seen in kwa uongozi mwingine. I don't know if you guys have experienced such things zenye zina happen. A president creating drama himself so that he can give a certain reaction to the same. There's just a lot that goes on with this government. A first lady who has no ambitions is just doing things. She's just doing things. Anyway, but all we pray is that God atutolee hii serikali. I think so far as Kenyans, we've cried enough and we don't have any more tears to cry. We are not ready to buy more handkerchiefs. Yep. So that is what I only had for today. I think tomorrow we meet same place, same time. Today I wasn't privileged to get panelists to come here with me to speak with me in the studio. But tomorrow I wish, I think they might be there. So just like to wish those who came a good night.